Have you noticed that your feet are cold even when the rest of your body feels warm? Or maybe you sit down for a while and when you stand up, your legs feel heavy and stiff, like they have forgotten how to work properly. Maybe you get this dull, achy feeling in your calves when you walk a few blocks that was never there 5 years ago. Or your ankles swell up by the end of the day and you have just been chalking it all up to getting older. I want to stop you right there because what you are experiencing is not just aging, it is your circulatory system sending you a very specific message, and if you learn how to read that message and respond to it correctly, you can dramatically improve how your legs feel, how well you move, and honestly, how long you live. Poor leg circulation in adults over 60 is one of the most underestimated and underaddressed health issues I see, and today we are going to fix that, together, right here, right now. Welcome to the channel. If you are new here, my name is Dr. Alex Morgan, and this is Dr. Alex Morgan, the Aging Wellness Lab, a place dedicated entirely to helping people over 60 understand their bodies, make smarter health decisions, and feel genuinely good, not just survive. Everything we cover here is grounded in real research, real patient experience, and practical strategies that you can actually use. If that is what you are looking for, go ahead and hit that subscribe button right now and tap the notification bell so you never miss a new video. We publish content like this every week, and I promise you will want to see what is coming. And if you know someone, a parent, a spouse, a neighbor, who complains about cold feet, heavy legs, or swollen ankles, please share this video with them before you finish watching. What I am about to share could genuinely change the way they approach their health every single day. Now, let me tell you about a patient I will call Raymond. He was 71 years old, a retired high school football coach from Tennessee, a man who spent his entire career on his feet, running alongside athletes, staying active, staying sharp. But by the time he came to see me, he told me he could barely walk to his mailbox without his legs feeling like they were filled with wet cement. His feet were always cold, his ankles looked like small balloons by dinner time. He had been told by 2 different doctors that this was normal for his age and his weight, and that he should just wear compression socks and elevate his feet when he could. Nobody had explained why this was happening. Nobody had given him a real understanding of what was going on inside his legs, and nobody had given him a plan, a real, comprehensive, personalized plan to actually improve it. When we finally sat down and went through everything together, Raymond had what I can only describe as a light bulb moment. He said, and I remember this clearly, he said that nobody had ever explained it to him like it was something he could actually fight back against. And he could, and he did. His story is where we are heading by the end of this video. But first, you need to understand what is actually happening in your body. Your legs are, in a very real sense, the hardest working part of your circulatory system. Think about what they are up against. Your heart sits in the center of your chest and pumps blood outward with tremendous force. Getting blood down to your feet is relatively easy. Gravity helps. But getting that blood back up from your feet to your heart, against gravity, through a distance of 3 or 4 feet of blood vessel, that is a genuine physiological challenge. And the system your body uses to accomplish this is elegant but fragile, especially as it ages. The veins in your legs have tiny one-way valves inside them that are supposed to snap shut after each pulse of blood moves upward, preventing it from flowing back down. The calf muscles, when you walk and move, act like a biological pump, squeezing the veins and pushing blood upward with each step. When both of those systems are working well, blood flows efficiently up from the feet, back to the heart, and oxygen and nutrients are delivered to the tissues continuously. But when those valves weaken, when those calf muscles are underused, when the arteries that bring oxygenated blood down to the legs become stiff or narrowed, the whole system starts to break down. And it does not happen overnight. It happens over years, so gradually that you barely notice it until one day you realize your legs feel nothing like they did a decade ago. Let me explain what is actually happening at the vascular level as we age, because this is the foundation of everything else we are going to talk about. The walls of your arteries are not passive tubes. They are living, dynamic structures made of multiple layers, including smooth muscle cells, elastic fibers, and a delicate inner lining called the endothelium. In young, healthy arteries, this system is incredibly responsive. When your muscles need more blood, the arteries dilate. When demand drops, they constrict. This flexibility is called vascular compliance, and it is one of the most important measures of cardiovascular health. After the age of 50, and accelerating after 60, several changes begin to compound on each other. The elastic fibers in the arterial walls gradually become stiffer and replaced partly by collagen, which is less flexible. The endothelium, that critical inner lining, becomes less efficient at producing nitric oxide, which is the molecule responsible for signaling blood vessels to relax and open wide. Chronic low-level inflammation, which virtually everyone experiences to some degree as they age, damages the endothelial cells and reduces their function even further. And if there is any degree of atherosclerosis, the buildup of fatty plaques inside the arterial walls, The channel through which blood flows becomes progressively narrower, meaning less blood reaches the muscles and tissues of the lower legs and feet. All of this together means that by the time many people are in their 60s and 70s, the circulatory system in their legs is operating at significantly reduced capacity compared to what it was designed to do. The good news, and I want you to hold on to this, is that every single one of these mechanisms is modifiable. The human vascular system retains a remarkable capacity for improvement at any age when given the right inputs. Now I want to talk about the venous side of the equation, because most discussions of leg circulation focus only on the arteries, the vessels bringing blood down, and completely ignore the veins bringing blood back up. This is a serious oversight because for many people over 60, the primary problem is actually venous insufficiency, not arterial disease. Chronic venous insufficiency is a condition where the one-way valves inside the leg veins have become damaged or weakened, allowing blood to pool downward instead of moving efficiently toward the heart. When blood pools in the lower legs, the pressure inside those veins builds up. That pressure pushes fluid out through the vessel walls and into the surrounding tissues, which is exactly what causes that characteristic ankle swelling you see at the end of the day. Over time, this chronic elevated venous pressure and fluid leakage can cause skin changes, discoloration, itching, and in severe cases, venous ulcers, open sores on the lower leg that are very difficult to heal. It is estimated that somewhere between 20 and 30% of adults over 60 have some degree of chronic venous insufficiency. Many of them have no idea what is causing their symptoms, and many are not receiving targeted treatment for the venous component of their circulatory problem. Understanding whether your circulation issue is primarily arterial, primarily venous, or, as is very often the case, both, is critically important because the approaches to improve each one are somewhat different, and getting the balance right matters. Let us talk about the role that physical activity, or more accurately the lack of it, plays in driving poor leg circulation in older adults. I said earlier that the calf muscles act as a biological pump for the venous system. That pump only works when the muscles are contracting, when you are walking, climbing stairs, doing calf raises, moving. When you sit for long periods, which is increasingly common in our culture and becomes more so as people age and retire, that calf muscle pump essentially shuts off. Blood sits in the leg veins, pressure builds, fluid leaks into tissues, and the lymphatic system, which works to drain that excess fluid, also relies partly on muscle movement to function, so it slows down too. A study published in the journal Circulation found that just 30 minutes of sitting with legs dependent caused measurable reductions in blood flow velocity in the lower extremity veins in older adults. 30 minutes. That is one episode of television. Now think about how many hours most older adults spend sitting every day. The cumulative effect on leg circulation is substantial. And the beautiful thing about this finding is its flip side. Movement works. Movement restores blood flow velocity, activates the calf muscle pump, opens up collateral circulation, and stimulates the release of nitric oxide from the endothelium. Even modest, consistent movement produces real measurable improvements in leg circulatory function over time. This is not opinion. It is one of the best documented findings in vascular medicine. So what does effective natural treatment of poor leg circulation actually look like? Let us get into the specifics, because this is where the video becomes actionable. The single most evidence-supported intervention for leg circulation in older adults is structured walking. Not casual strolling, but intentional progressive walking done with a specific goal in mind. Research on a condition called peripheral artery disease, which is the clinical term for arterial narrowing in the legs, consistently shows that supervised walking exercise programs produce improvements in walking distance and leg blood flow that are comparable to or even exceeding what is achieved with certain medications. The mechanism is multifaceted. Walking directly activates the calf muscle pump, improving venous return. It stimulates the release of nitric oxide, improving arterial dilation. It promotes the development of collateral blood vessels, new small blood vessels that essentially create bypass routes around areas of narrowing. And it reduces systemic inflammation, which over time allows the endothelium to recover some of its function. The recommended approach for beginners is to start with whatever walking distance is comfortable, even if that is only 5 or 10 minutes, and add 1 to 2 minutes of walking time every few days. The goal over several weeks is to build to at least 30 to 45 minutes of brisk walking 5 days per week. If you have pain in your calves when you walk, a symptom called intermittent claudication, which is characteristic of arterial disease, the correct approach is actually to walk to the point of moderate discomfort, rest briefly until it resolves, then continue. This sounds counterintuitive, but it is exactly this cycle of ischemic stress and recovery that drives the development of collateral circulation most powerfully. Calf raises are another extremely underrated intervention for leg circulation, and I recommend them to virtually every patient I see with venous insufficiency or general venous sluggishness. Standing calf raises, simply rising up onto your toes and lowering back down slowly, directly contract the gastrocnemius and soleus muscles, which are the primary components of the calf muscle pump. Doing 2 to 3 sets of 15 to 20 calf raises daily, or even doing them while you are standing at the kitchen counter waiting for the coffee to brew, creates a consistent mechanical pumping action in the lower legs that meaningfully improves venous return. For people who have difficulty standing for extended periods, seated ankle pumps, sitting in a chair and repeatedly flexing and extending the ankle to pump the foot up and down, provide a similar benefit. There is actual clinical data showing that ankle pumping exercises in seated older adults significantly improve venous blood flow velocity compared to sitting still. This is one of those interventions where the simplicity is almost misleading. It feels too easy to be doing anything meaningful, but the physiology is real and the evidence is solid. Now let us talk about something that is genuinely fascinating and that most people have no idea about: the relationship between hydration and leg circulation. Your blood has a specific viscosity, meaning a specific thickness or resistance to flow. When you are well hydrated, your blood is more fluid and flows more easily through the vessels. When you are even mildly dehydrated, and many older adults are chronically mildly dehydrated because the thirst sensation weakens with age, your blood becomes thicker and more viscous. Thicker blood is harder to pump. It moves more slowly through already narrowed or already compromised vessels. It is more prone to forming small clots, and it delivers oxygen and nutrients less efficiently to peripheral tissues like those in the feet and lower legs. A large study looking at cardiovascular risk factors in older adults found that chronic mild dehydration was associated with measurably higher blood viscosity and reduced peripheral blood flow. The fix sounds almost embarrassingly simple: drink more water, but the details matter. Most adults over 60 need somewhere between 6 and 8 cups of water daily, and many are getting significantly less than that. The goal is to drink consistently throughout the day rather than in large amounts at once, and to use urine color as a practical guide. Pale yellow means good hydration, dark yellow or amber means you need more water. Starting the morning with a full glass of water before coffee or tea is a habit that my patients consistently report makes a noticeable difference in how their legs feel throughout the day. Dietary choices deserve a dedicated section here because the connection between what you eat and how well your legs circulate is far more direct than most people realize. The endothelium, that inner lining of the blood vessels that produces nitric oxide and regulates vascular tone, is profoundly sensitive to what is in your bloodstream. Foods that are high in refined sugars, processed carbohydrates, and industrial seed oils promote inflammation, oxidative stress, and endothelial dysfunction. Foods that are rich in specific nutrients actively support endothelial health and vascular function. Let me give you the most evidence-backed examples. Foods high in dietary nitrates, particularly dark leafy greens like arugula, spinach, and Swiss chard, as well as beets and beet juice, are converted in the body into nitric oxide, directly supporting arterial dilation and blood flow. A clinical trial published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that daily consumption of beetroot juice for just 1 week produced measurable improvements in blood pressure and peripheral blood flow in older adults. Flavonoid-rich foods, blueberries, dark cherries, cocoa, green tea, and citrus fruit have been extensively studied for their ability to improve endothelial function and reduce vascular inflammation. Omega-3 fatty acids from fatty fish, walnuts, and flaxseed help reduce blood viscosity and systemic inflammation. And on the flip side, excess dietary sodium drives fluid retention and increases the workload on the venous system. Reducing processed food consumption is one of the single most impactful dietary changes you can make for your leg circulation, because processed foods are simultaneously high in sodium, refined sugars, and pro-inflammatory fats, a triple threat to vascular health. Supplements deserve an honest, nuanced discussion here, because the market is flooded with products making extravagant claims about improving circulation, and separating the evidence-based options from the marketing noise takes real work. I want to give you the truth. Horse chestnut seed extract is one of the best studied natural supplements for venous insufficiency. The active compound, ASIN, has been shown in multiple randomized controlled trials to reduce leg swelling, heaviness, and pain associated with chronic venous insufficiency. A Cochrane review, which is considered the gold standard in systematic medical evidence, concluded that horse chestnut seed extract is an effective short-term treatment for chronic venous insufficiency, comparable in effect to compression therapy in some studies. That is a strong evidence base. Pycnogenol, an extract from French maritime pine bark, is another well-studied compound that has been shown to improve microcirculation, reduce capillary leakage, and decrease ankle swelling in older adults with venous problems. Magnesium plays a critical role in vascular smooth muscle relaxation, and many older adults are deficient in it. Studies have linked low magnesium status with increased arterial stiffness and reduced peripheral blood flow. Vitamin D deficiency, which is extremely common in older Americans, has also been associated with reduced endothelial function and impaired nitric oxide production. These are not magic pills, but they are evidence-supported tools that can meaningfully contribute to a comprehensive approach when combined with the lifestyle strategies we have already discussed. Temperature therapy is something I want to spend a moment on because it is remarkably effective and almost never mentioned in mainstream health conversations. Alternating hot and cold water exposure to the legs, a technique sometimes called contrast hydrotherapy, creates a powerful circulatory training effect. When you expose the legs to warm water, the blood vessels dilate and blood flow increases. When you switch to cold, the vessels constrict. Alternating between the two repeatedly, typically 2 to 3 minutes warm followed by 30 to 60 seconds cold, repeated 3 to 5 cycles, essentially exercises the vascular smooth muscle, improving its tone and responsiveness over time. People who practice contrast hydrotherapy consistently often report dramatic improvements in sensations of coldness in the feet, reduced leg heaviness, and less ankle swelling. You can do this simply in the shower by alternating the water temperature, or you can sit with your feet in a basin and add warm and cool water alternately. Starting warm and ending cold is the standard protocol. This is one of those interventions that feels almost too simple to be serious medicine, but the physiological rationale is completely sound, and the clinical anecdotes are extremely consistent. Stress management is another piece of this puzzle that rarely gets mentioned in conversations about leg circulation, but is genuinely significant. Chronic psychological stress activates the sympathetic nervous system, the fight or flight response, on a sustained basis. Chronic sympathetic activation causes persistent constriction of peripheral blood vessels, including those in the lower extremities. It raises levels of inflammatory cytokines in the blood, damaging the endothelium. It elevates cortisol, which promotes fluid retention and increases blood viscosity, and it disrupts sleep, which is when the body does most of its vascular repair work. Mind-body practices, meditation, diaphragmatic breathing, gentle yoga, tai chi have all been shown to reduce sympathetic nervous system tone, lower inflammatory markers, and improve peripheral blood flow. Tai Chi specifically has an impressive evidence base in older adults, combining gentle lower body movement, balance training, and stress reduction in a single practice. A study published in the Journal of the American Geriatric Society found that older adults who practiced Tai Chi regularly had significantly better lower extremity circulation and balance compared to sedentary controls of the same age. If you are looking for one practice that addresses both the movement side and the stress side of leg circulation simultaneously, Tai Chi is hard to beat. Sleep quality deserves mention here as well, because the relationship runs in both directions. Poor leg circulation can disrupt sleep. Restless legs, leg cramps, and the discomfort of edema all interfere with getting quality rest. But poor sleep also worsens leg circulation. During deep sleep, the body releases growth hormone, which is involved in vascular repair and smooth muscle maintenance. Blood pressure drops, giving the vascular system a much-needed rest. Inflammatory processes are modulated and partly resolved during sleep. When sleep is chronically disrupted or insufficient, all of these repair mechanisms are impaired, and the cumulative effect on vascular health over months and years is meaningful. Prioritizing sleep quality, consistent sleep and wake times, a cool and dark sleep environment, avoiding screens in the hour before bed, and addressing sleep apnea if it is present, is a genuine investment in your vascular health, not just your energy levels. I want to take a moment to talk about when natural approaches are not enough on their own, because I believe in giving you a complete and honest picture. There are situations where poor leg circulation requires medical evaluation and intervention beyond lifestyle changes. If you experience pain in your calves, thighs, or buttocks that consistently comes on with walking and resolves with rest, this could be intermittent claudication from peripheral artery disease, and it warrants a medical evaluation including an ankle brachial index test, a simple, non-invasive measurement that compares blood pressure in the ankle to blood pressure in the arm. If you notice wounds or sores on your feet or lower legs that are slow to heal, if you have significant skin discoloration or thickening on your lower legs, if one leg is noticeably more swollen than the other, or if you suddenly develop pain, redness, and swelling in one leg, the last of those being a possible sign of deep vein thrombosis, please see a doctor promptly. These are situations where professional medical evaluation is not optional. Natural approaches work beautifully as preventive measures and as adjuncts to medical treatment, but they are not a substitute for appropriate diagnosis and care when something serious is going on. Now let me bring this all together for you in a way that makes it immediately useful. Think about your approach to improving leg circulation as a daily practice rather than a one-time fix. Mornings are ideal for movement. Even 10 to 15 minutes of walking or calf raises before your day gets going activates the calf muscle pump early and sets a good circulatory tone for the hours ahead. Start your day with a full glass of water to get ahead of hydration. Throughout the day, break up any prolonged sitting with 2 to 3 minutes of movement every 45 to 60 minutes, a short walk, some ankle pumps, some calf raises. This consistent low-level movement is enormously powerful for venous return. In the afternoon, if you tend toward ankle swelling, make leg elevation a ritual, 20 to 30 minutes with your feet above heart level. Evening is a good time for a warm bath or contrast hydrotherapy for the legs. And consistent daily habits around diet, more greens, more berries, more hydration, less sodium, less processed food, build a vascular environment that supports circulation over time. None of these things individually is a miracle. Together, practiced consistently, they create a physiological environment where your legs can genuinely improve. And now let me close Raymond's story because he deserves a proper ending. After 12 weeks of working through exactly the kind of program we have discussed today, structured walking, daily calf raises, dietary changes focused on nitrate-rich vegetables and reduced sodium, horse chestnut extract, daily hydration habits, afternoon leg elevation, and contrast hydrotherapy 3 times a week, Raymond came back for a follow-up visit, and the change was visible before he even sat down. The ankle swelling was largely gone. He told me he had walked 3 miles the previous week without any leg pain. He said his feet felt warm for the first time in 2 years. His wife called it a transformation. And what I told Raymond that day is what I want to tell you right now. This was not a miracle. This was biology responding to intelligent inputs. Your body wants to circulate well. It wants to deliver blood and oxygen to your legs. When you remove the obstacles and give it the right support, it does exactly what it was designed to do. Before we wrap up, I genuinely want to know your experience. Drop a comment below and tell me, what is the main symptom you deal with when it comes to your legs? Is it cold feet, swelling, heaviness, cramping? Let me know, and let me know which of the strategies we talked about today you are going to start with. Your comment might be exactly what someone else needs to read to feel like they are not alone in this. And if this video helped you see your leg circulation differently today, please share it. Post it to Facebook, text it to a friend, share it with someone you know who is struggling with this. It costs you nothing, and it genuinely helps both them and this channel. And if you are not yet subscribed to Dr. Alex Morgan, Aging Wellness Lab, do that right now. Every week we bring you real, practical, evidence-based information about aging well, information that actually makes a difference in how you feel and how you live. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching all the way through, and I will see you in the next one. Take care of yourself and take care of your legs.